Well met, well met. Hey, what's going on? It's Tech Maki, and this is another episode of FFBE For Dummies. This is Volume 2. Today we're going to talk about making gil and leveling up your units, efficient ways to do both. A lot of people think that gil isn't really all that needed, but later on down the road, once you start, clearing harder content, or you want to make your characters stronger after leveling them, of course, you're going to want to use your gil for enhancements. There's actually a lot of stuff that you can buy every day in the bundle shop for gil. Magicite, Crysts, Alcrysts, whatever it is, sometimes 6-star materials in there. And you need gil to do so. Plus you have a lot of recipes that you need to buy throughout playing the game. And some stuff that you end up wanting to craft later on that also require gil. And then not only to mention the expeditions that just got released recently during the anniversary. So gil is a pretty important thing in the game, and of course we all know the importance of leveling units. Without the units being leveled up, you're not going to be able to beat the content you want to beat. So anyway, we're going to get into this right now. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the gil. So you have friends point units. This is one of the first ways that a newer player or even veterans can go ahead and make gil with these free units. Now, I made a video about this before in the past, so we're only really going to touch over it a little bit, but I want to make sure that's important to get out there. Next up, we have gil snappers. It's another unit that's available like friends point units. Sometimes you can get gil snappers during friends point unit summons. Sometimes you get them during raids. They're always available during the weekends that we have that cave up. That's an actually really important unit right there if you want to make some quick money. Then we have raid coins. Raid coins are only available during the specific raids like FF14 and the previous raids we've had before. Then we have event currency, i.e. Mod King event currency, whatever currency that you're going to be using to trade into the Mod King to get materia, equipment, cactars, leveling materials, or not leveling materials, but awakening materials, and other consumables, summon tickets, blah blah blah. So event currency is another way that you can do it. And then we have the Chamber of Riches, and this is a small event or small chamber that is within the Chamber of Desires. You have different chambers in there. Some of them get used. That's one way you can get some gil from the get-go. And then you have lapis bundles. Sometimes I think every day they have a lapis bundle, and not even every day. I think you can buy as many as you want of the lapis bundles for gil. Now, I know some people are probably looking at me like, what in the hell are you mentioning the Chamber of Riches for, or the lapis bundles? And to be honest, I'm not. Those two things, I would never freaking use them. The Chamber of Riches, the only time that you would use the Chamber of Riches if you're trying to get the 60, I think it's 60 lapis that you're going to get for completing the missions on those chambers. And the lapis bundles, never waste your lapis on something as silly as gil. You can get it so many other ways, so much quicker, so much easier, and use their lapis on other things. I guess technically it's not quicker because you're just spending your lapis. Either way, don't ever do it. So let's go ahead and first talk about the friends point units. The friends point units, as I said in the video before, they are free summons. They're accessed within the standard summon area, and you essentially just get them and you don't have anything to do with them because they kind of suck. A couple of them are useful for TMs, which we'll cover in another video. But honestly, they're really good sources of money. So essentially you can get for 1-star units, anything that you get as a 1-star and you don't want to awaken to another level, or you didn't pull at that level, because I wouldn't actually awaken to another level to make more money. So any 1-star units that you have that you max out, they go to their highest level, you can sell them for 4.4k gil. That is pretty cheap, or it's pretty fast to level them up. To cap them out at level 1, I think you just have to take them into the Chamber of Experience, the lowest tier one, beginner, and you can get yourself some good stuff right there. Then at a level, or 2-star, it's 15k gil. That's a pretty significant jump from 4.4k. So if you pull one of those, you just go do a couple runs, or if you want to, you can take some mini cactars and shove them in there. It costs a little gil to do so, but you're making more than you spend. And then the next one is the 3-stars. The 3-stars sell for 32k gil. Takes a little bit longer, but I think it's worth it if you're using the little cactars, or you're just trying to get in the experience chamber to get some quick money. Next we have the gil snappers. Now the gil snappers, again, they are units that you can pick up from either certain events Certain events, they drop them, like raid events. If you do the summons for the raids, sometimes they pop out. More times than not, those turtles are always there. But either way, the first one, it sells for 1k gil. So that's instant 1k for getting that 1-star unit. 2-star units, 2.5k gil. 3-star units, 5 gil or 5k gil. And then the 4-star units are 30k gil. That is a significant chunk. If you get 4 of those, that's a lot of freaking money right there. A lot of gil that you can spend anywhere you want. So I would definitely look at gil snappers as an option to make money. Next up, we have raid coins. Now, raid coins were introduced, I think, during the Final Fantasy 14. The first one, I think, was Ifrit. I want to say it was the Ifrit raid. And that's when we started getting those. We've had a few raids that haven't had raid coins, or specifically, I think it was the Christmas raid, and there may have been another raid. But either way, the raid coins are really good currency, or really good to sell. You get a bulk of them, and usually, more times than not, they do sell for a good chunk of gil. Not always, and the same thing can go with event currency. Sometimes the rates for the exchange on raid coins aren't that significant, but most times they are. And these are the current raid coins that we've had. And then, of course, for future raids, we'll have Nier Automata, Final Fantasy 11, Final Fantasy 14, and then any other seasonal raids that they do give us. So you can look for using those raid coins to make a good chunk of gil when those raids come up. Should be at least be once every month, hopefully. Anyway, next up we have event currency. So event currency, this is any Mog King event that comes up. And when I say Mog King, I'm talking about that big guy right there. He sits in the chair, he's in the far plane, he chills, he wants all types of stuff from the adventurers that are, doing great things. So either way, we've had lots of event currency throughout the time that the Mog King events started. And so most of these have sold for a significant chunk of change. Sometimes you end up carrying them over because you forget to use them when the event ends. Sometimes you are actually farming them, and I would suggest that if you're running out of gil and a Mog King event is up, you can definitely farm these for gil. But either way, I think these are the 4 easiest ways to make gil in the game. 4 fastest ways to make gil besides spending your lapis, which again, I don't suggest. Anyway, next up we're going to move on to leveling the units. So leveling units, we have Metal Cactuars. Now Metal Cactuars are awesome units. We can get them also from raid summons. We get them from the Mog King events. Usually he sells 100 of them. And then we also can get them sometimes from the rare Friends Point summon banners, which I really hope they start bringing back more often, because most people are carrying those points over from their Friends Point use. They're usually capped. So there's that. Either way, Metal Cactuars are great. Then you have the explorations. Explorations are also another great way of making or getting EXP. It just takes a while to do the entire exploration, but it's a very energy efficient way to level up your units. Then we have the Chamber Experience. Not very energy efficient at all, but it is a very fast way of doing it. It's only like 3 or 4 rounds. You should, of course, do it for at least once so you can get your Lops rewards. But it's a very fast way to get your experience leveled up. And then we have equipment and materia. Now that's not necessarily something that you can do. It's something that you need to either earn or been around for. So first we'll talk about the Metal Cactuars. Now Metal Cactuars come in of course, just like the Gil Snappers, 1 through 4 star. And for the first star, for the first star, you have 5k experience from a mini Cactuar. That's why I was saying you can use these things to level up your Friends Point units, because it's not a lot of experience, especially when you start plugging them into 6-star, 5-star units, even 4-star units. It's very minuscule experience. But then the 2 stars, 10k. You can also use these guys on Friends Point units, maybe the 3 stars if you really wanted to. Not a very big chunk of experience, again, on 5 or 6-star units. You can the only purpose I see in using these guys when leveling your characters, if you're trying to optimize how much experience you're going to be plugging in there. You never know when your great success is when you actually put a Cactuar into your unit as a fusion will proc, or even amazing success. So I would definitely suggest using these on the lower tiered or lower starred units. If you're using them on 3 or 4 star units that can go to 6 star, you can use them there. Then you have your 3 star units. This is the one we had for a long time, is the highest tiered Cactuar. It's 30k experience. It does take a bunch of these to get a 5 star to 6 star, and then a 6 star to max level of 100. But it's a pretty good little Cactuar right there. and these are always sold during Mod King events. And then we have the newest one, which came out, I want to say, was it a raid ago or 2 raids ago? It was the 4-star unit, the, what is it, the King Minotaurs. This is a 100k experience, and it is phenomenal. You can level up your units very, very, very fast this way. And they're available a few ways. One is the chamber, or what is it, the Cactuar Dunes. You can pick them up there. They're also available during EX summons, or not EX summons, but EX purchase. If you purchase Lapis, because you're doing some summons for units, you can get these Minotaur, or these King Minotaurs as a reward. They're also usually there for raid summons, and I think I already said they're raid summons. So there's a few ways you can get these guys, but they're pretty rare for the most part. So when you get them, I would hoard them, but definitely use them on your 6-star units. Next up, like I said, we have explorations. Now I suggest 2 explorations. One of them I think is by far better than the other one, only by energy. But if you're looking at time, it's probably a little bit better than the other one, because you're going to get more experience over time. Or in a shorter span of time. That's what I mean to say. Anyway, so the first one is Timber Tracks. Timber Tracks is a pretty cool exploration. It's a straight shot, so really all you have to do if you're farming the area is just run back and forth through the zones. I think it has 2 different zones. You run back and forth until you've accumulated enough experience from the areas, and then move on to the next one, finish the dungeon or the exploration, you're over. And again, it's 8 energy for the entire exploration. Pretty cheap cost. You're going to get 60 or 66,900 experience for the entire thing if you clear all the enemies. And for every energy, that breaks down to 8,362.5 experience. So pretty good for the long haul. If you're trying to save energy, you're trying to maximize how much energy you get to use for leveling up your characters, you can go to Timber Tracks. Then after that, I would say Societal Ruins. It's in one of the most recent story, not the most recent, but it's in one of the more recent story upgrades. Societal Ruins is 9 energy, but for experience though, you get 74,596, and that's what I was saying. In a span of time, if you've only had 30 minutes or 40 minutes to do exploration, you knew you could clear it in 20 minutes, you'd make more doing Societal Ruins for 1 energy more, which would then in turn net you more in the long run. But energy breakdown, it does come in a little bit lower than Timber Tracks at 9 energy. You only get 8,299 experience, 0.44 repeated. So you can definitely, these are 2 of the best explorations you can do. But that's entirely up to you. Before that, I think we had like Miranda Coast or something, and then before that, who knows, I can't even remember that far back. But either way, those are definitely the best explorations. So you just keep pushing through the story until you end up making it to these areas, or if you're already in these areas and you want to do slow experience, that's a good way of doing it. Plus, doing these explorations, you won't only get experience for your units, but you also get some valuable materials for you use to make some very rare rings that you earn through trophies. Anyway, next up, the Chamber Experience. Now, the Chamber Experience, like I said, it's a very fast way of leveling up. As opposed to doing an exploration where it takes you about 20 to 30 minutes to maybe clear the entire area, Chamber of Experience probably takes you about 2 to 3 minutes. So you can do a whole bunch of these very quickly. But if you want to keep leveling your units up fast, you're going to have to use a lot of Lapis in order to meet the same numbers, or not even meet the same numbers, but in order to continue getting that growth. When you do an exploration, it's a slow grind. By the time you finish the exploration, most of the time you've already generated most of your energy, if not all of your energy, back doing it. So it's not like you're kind of doing it for free for the most part. With the Chamber Experience, that's not the case. You're burning through your energy very, very fast. I think the first one, which is the Chamber Experience, you have the beginner one, 6.5k experience. It comes in with it's 5 energy for it, and it's really not that much of gains, but like I said, you can take that and level up your Friends Point units. Intermediate, 16k, you can do that with your 2-star units from Friends Points. The advanced is the one that you're going to be wanting to use as a experience boost for your units. 31k experience. Now the little dash next to it means that it's around those numbers. It's not, sometimes it's not the same thing, it depends on the enemy that spawns. But you usually get around 30 to 31k on that last one. And again, it's very fast, and with specific things it can be very nice, with specific equipment and material. Again, this is for those that are they have expendable lops. They're just trying to get it out there. They're not waiting on summons or something. You're just trying to level something up quickly. No Cactars, Chamber of Experience is your answer. Now after that we have the equipment and materia. Now equipment and materia is different. Like I said, it's not really a way to level up your units, but it's a way to boost leveling your units faster. Every time you do an exploration, every time you do a Chamber of Experience, you can use this equipment or materia in order to maximize your gains, your benefits from going into those areas. So the first one we have is the growth egg. This comes from Medius. He's, I think, a 3-star, or yeah, he's a 3-star base. Not a very good unit in my opinion. Should have had dual wield, but either way, the growth egg, very nice piece of gear if you're just worried about experience or leveling your units. You're not using Cactars, you're just doing that slow grind or the Chamber Experience. It's a 0.5% increase with the experience that you get. Next up we have is the anniversary ring. This was available if you were here for the 1-year anniversary of FFBE. It was given to any player that logged in. And you can see that comes from Hiroki Fujimoto-san. And it's a, I think, 0.3 increase on your experience. It's a pretty nice piece of gear. It's free accessory, so you don't have to worry about it like the growth egg. It is an accessory, but you have to TM farm the accessory in order to get the growth egg for the 0.5. This one was just handed out to people, so if you have them, you can use them. Next up, we have materia. Now the materia is action. It comes from 9. He's a Final Fantasy Type 0 character. Again, it's a TMR. But it's cool that it is in materia slots. You can equip, I think, 2 of these maximum on that side, plus the growth egg, 2 of them, for a 2% or 2 times modifier on your experience. Or no, is it 2 times? I think it's 3 times a modifier on your experience, something like that. So it's actually pretty cool. But either way, those are the available ways of leveling up your units. So I hope this video helped you out on knowing how to get the proper or the efficient ways of making gil, efficient ways of leveling up your units. So anyway, you guys have a great day. Maki out. Thanks for watching. And if you want to see the previous episode of FFBE For Dummies, you can go ahead and click over here. And if you want to see one of the Maki Gaming channel's favorites, you can go ahead and click over here. And if you want to help the channel out, subscribe. And don't hesitate to like the video. But remember, click over here. Again, you guys have a great day.